A very good Wednesday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Fixed Wing Guy channel with me, Stuart Lomas. Not a lot has happened regarding the weather here in Manchester. Still a dreadful, drizzly, boring, awful, cloudy day. This second video of the day, because it's tennis next, so I'll get this out of the way. May do another one later, don't know, unlikely though. This video has been prompted by a comment to the video that I did as a request from Purple Haze. Now, one of my subscribers, a gentleman called Bob from Brisbane, funnily enough, he's from Brisbane. And he was saying that the other day he was out with his niece. I have asked permission from Bob, would it be okay to do this video, and he said it's fine. And basically what his niece pointed out, she asked a number of questions. I'll kind of go through them to give you a flavour of where we're going with this. I've written them down. Why do people buy more than one watch? Why not buy a really good watch like a Rolex and wear it all the time? Wouldn't it work out cheaper if you bought just one watch in the end? What's the point of owning so many watches, only wearing one at a time and having so many left at home? And that watch shopping takes so much time. So if you only bought one watch, you'd have so much time saved up. Well, what I want to do is try to answer all of those in a clear, concise and honest and kind of disconnected way from my love of watches, as it were. So let's take the first one. Why do we buy more than one watch? Well, Bob's niece, sorry Bob didn't give me your name. Why do we buy more than one watch? Well, it's kind of like, and this is probably something you can understand, it's kind of like asking a lady why she buys shoes constantly. It is because we want to. It is because it is something that we like. It is because it's something we can afford, and it is because that it's something that we feel will make us look better when we go out, and will make us feel better when we go out, and to a certain extent with some people, Bob's niece, it is to fit in with a fashion, potentially. So that's kind of the reason why we buy more than one watch. It's because there are a multitude of choices of styles, materials, brands, bracelets, functions, or complications as we call them, dial size, dial shape, dial colour, many and varied different things that can actually push us towards different watches, hence why a lot of us buy lots and lots of different watches. So your answer to your question is, why do we buy so many watches? If you don't do it, ask your friends or your mum or your auntie or whoever. Why do you buy so many pairs of shoes? Second one, why don't we buy a really good watch like a Rolex and wear it all the time? Okay, firstly, Bob's niece, why do we not buy a really good watch like a Rolex? Okay, firstly, interesting to know that you know about Rolex. As somebody who I assume is not particularly interested in watches, it just goes to show how everybody in the world, in the first world, has been suckered in by the advertising campaigns that Rolex put out there. They will have people believe that they are indeed a really good brand, which of course they are. That they will have people believe that they are the best brand, which of course they're not. And it is interesting to know why you should come out with a particular brand name. I suppose it's the same ethos as Nike sportswear or Adidas sportswear. You are suckered into buying a particular brand because they have an advertising budget. Why not buy a really good watch? Okay, moving the Rolex brand to one side, why do we not buy a really good watch? What is a really good watch? Is a really good watch a watch that costs tens of thousands of pounds, dollars, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, euros? Is that the measure of a really good watch? Or is a really good watch a watch that you can wear on your wrist, that runs on quartz, that costs you £5, $5, €5, that once the battery's in, you don't need to touch it again for 5 years, and it keeps really, really good time, and you're quite happy with that. Is that a really good watch? Is a really good watch a G-Shock that has the time, a stopwatch, potentially a thermometer, a massive depth rating, it is relatively indestructible? Is that a really good watch? The term a really good watch, Bob's niece, is subjective. What you call a really good watch is one thing, what I call a really good watch is another thing. What your Uncle Bob calls a really good watch is completely different again, potentially. Really good is a matter of choice. There will be bands out there, let's say like One Direction, for instance. There are a lot of young girls out there who would say they're really good. In fact, not only really good, they will be the best band that's ever existed. Well, you know, let me throw the Beatles into the mix, or the Who, you know, or Queen. Take that if you want a more modern band. So, really good, it's a matter of taste, it's a matter of choice. So, why do we not buy a really good watch? Well, every watch that we buy, we consider to be really good. And if we didn't consider it to be really good, we wouldn't buy it. Wouldn't it work out cheaper in the end? Well, let's have a look. I am fortunate, Bob's niece, to own a Rolex 1969 vintage GMT Master 1 and a year 2000-2001 Omega Seamaster 300 Professional. They will not mean a lot to yourself, but to replace those two watches, it's probably going to cost me somewhere in the region of £10,000. Would it not be cheaper in the end to have one watch? Well, there are not many people who can go out there and spend multiple thousands of pounds on, to use your preferred brand, a Rolex. There are just not. There will be people out there who will have an aspiration to own a Rolex, but for them the day will never come because they are so outlandishly priced. And price to a certain extent is kind of no measure of quality. So what a lot of people will do, they will satiate their need for their watch cravings by buying a number of lower priced watches, and hopefully along the way they will get something that's maybe £300, possibly £400, that in their eyes it is perfectly sufficient, which is as good as a Rolex. But unfortunately, like all passions, Bob's niece, unfortunately we are obsessives. We constantly have the craving of a little voice inside our ear saying, you know, it must be time for you to buy a new watch. It must be time. And that's what we're driven by, unfortunately. It is this love of these tiny little magnificent machines with somewhere between 200 and 300 pieces inside that make this thing in actuality tick. It's that beauty, it's that fascination, it's the engineering prowess of the makers that fascinates a lot of us. So when we see something beautiful that happens to keep time as well, we're pushed to buy that. So you will get all these people who, there'll be a number of people who can afford the finest watches that there are out there, but there will also be lots of people out there who just can't afford to buy a really good watch, hoping that will do them for the rest of their life and will satiate their need. The chances are, even the ones that can afford to buy a really good watch will want another really good watch, so they'll go out and they'll buy a Rolex, and then they'll want an Omega, and then they'll want a Patek Philippe, and then they'll want a Vacherin Constantin, and so on and so forth. So buying the one really good watch will never satiate, will never satisfy a watch fanatic, a watch lover, or a watch obsessive. It will never happen. Then we've got the watch shopping takes a lot of time. It does. Absolutely, it does. So if we only had the one watch, would it not save us a lot of time? Yes. It would. Absolutely. So what do we fill that the rest of the time with? Do we then get obsessed by something else that then will fill our lives, that will cause us to have this addiction, something that we'll want to do all the time? I know, we'll take up golf. That's what we'll do. Oh, hang on a minute, no. That means that you're always on the search for better clubs, whether it be a £600 Callaway driver or a brand new motorised remote control golf club sack, or my very own personal golf buggy, and better golf shoes, and nicer trousers, and nicer Pringle tops, and oh no, that's something else I'm going to have to spend time looking for and spending money on. I know, stamp collecting, that's what we'll do, we'll stamp collect. Oh no, hang on a minute, no, we can't do that either. So the problem is, yes, if we only had one watch, it means we wouldn't have to shop, which would mean we would spare time. So then we've got all that empty time, where if we're not working, we're not being productive. So if we want that time to be valuable, it has to do something else. And we will replace one habit with another habit. It's like somebody giving up smoking, for instance. People who've smoked, I never have, but people who do, you will tend to find that they will then go out and chew gum all the time, or eat crisps all the time, or eat sweets all the time, or whatever. There will have to be something else that will fill that time. So I guess that's it. I hope I've answered all your questions. Watch shopping is no different for a man than shoe shopping is for a woman. Yes, it would save time if we had one watch, but then we'd have to have another old hobby. Why don't we go out and buy a really good watch like a Rolex? Yes, we could, but not many people can afford a really good watch like a Rolex. Is there any point of having a lot of watches at home that you're not wearing all the time? Well, we try very, very hard to give each watch we have what's called wrist time on the wrist. So I kind of hope I've answered all your questions there. Quite an interesting question to be asking your uncle. I hope this satisfies the questions that you asked, all being well. Lovely to hear from you via your uncle. I do speak to your uncle on a fairly regular basis, and I hope he shows you this, and I hope you're happy with the way I've answered. So, people out there, if you have any things that I've missed for Bob from Brisbane's niece, make him a video. Tell them the stuff that I've missed. Anyway, for this is the one. It is now tennis time, people. Murray is playing this afternoon. If you have any questions, comments or queries about this video, down below as always. Any general comments, any nonsense on this nonsense, by all means let me know down here. If this is your first time here and you've not seen me before and you think, quite interesting this, have a look at my old stuff, and if you like it, please subscribe. It will be lovely to see your name in the list. As always, no doubt I will be getting 1 or 2 thumbs down. If you like this video, give it a couple of thumbs up. So for now, I shall sign off, and I shall speak to you again very soon. Nice to talk to you. Bye bye.